Hello everyone, this video will cover Module 8. Module 8 is the halfway point of the semester. So now is a really good time to take a look at the gradebook and see what kind of feedback I've been leaving you on assignments this semester. Notice if there's any issues. I know some of you do keep track of them throughout the semester, but I have lots of students who never look at the gradebook, and so now is a really good time to do that. Because the further we get into the semester, the less likely it is I can help you solve some issues with what you've been turning in. So keep track of those grades and email me if you have any questions. The other thing about Module 8 is that you will have, it's the midpoint, so you're going to have the opportunity to do a survey to get some feedback on the class, and then you also have a midpoint reflection to see how you're doing so far. So we're also moving on to the next major writing assignment. So if you remember, Module 7 was all about academic reading, and so we kind of covered the reading requirements for the class. And now we're moving on to the essay requirements for the class. We're going to write 2 essays. The first one is going to be what's called a process essay. A process essay is an essay that describes something in number of steps. And so what you'll be doing first is learning more about process and understanding like the difference between writing a paragraph level assignment versus the entire essay, and then you'll be kind of preparing for that. So we'll get some preparation here, and just like we've done before, there will be multiple modules for an essay. So right now we're just learning some of the fundamentals so that we can start writing the essay in the next unit. So readings and resources, you've got 3 sections to look at. The first is the chapter on process. Now the chapter on process, chapter 8, is in the paragraph section, and so it describes more of how to write a process paragraph than how to write a process essay, but the concept is still the same. And so there's some terminology that's important in this chapter. That's why I want you to look at it. In particular, the difference between a how-to and an explanation, because you guys are doing a process explanation. Later in the book is the different types of essays, and one of them is listed as the process essay, and it's just 1 page of information about how to create a process essay as opposed to just the paragraph level. And then you'll also look at chapter 14, and chapter 14 covers like the entire process of writing an essay. So just any type of essay, it goes over just like how you would approach it, and what are some things to remember, some of the terminology that you'll need, and that kind of thing. So once you've gone through these 3 sections, and I do have a couple of videos here if you want to watch them, just to kind of further your knowledge and understanding. Some people like visuals. Then the next thing you're going to do is, let's try to open the book again. You're going to take the quiz. Now the quiz covers both topics basically. So how to write an essay just in general, and then also some of the process terminology, and they're all multiple choice type questions. Some of the questions are created by the textbook company, and some of them are ones that I created, and so you'll see a difference in like style of question, but they should be pretty self-explanatory and a little different from what you've done before. So if you have questions as you're taking the quiz, make sure that you send me an email. So then the next thing you're going to do is, once you understand what process is, you're going to start planning your process essay. So a process essay is anything that can be completed or is an explanation of the steps in order to complete something. The idea is that you will explain the process, and that process needs to be detailed enough that if I were to complete the steps as you have described them, I will get the same outcome. And so it needs to be something that does go in a series of steps. So this first issue that students have is picking a topic. And a topic that will work well for this assignment is something that you have personal experience with. You cannot do a topic that you have no personal experience with because you're not using sources. So you have to pick something that you have done before. Most students pick a favorite family recipe, particularly one that's a little bit more complex. So making tamales or something would be a good one. or some type of car maintenance. Like I see a lot of oil change or tire change essays that works really well. Maybe a process you complete at work. I've seen just like inventories. If you're work in the medical field, you know, how do you insert an IV? How do you do a, you know, I had somebody do a tracheotomy one time as their topic. That was kind of interesting. So anyway, anything that has a series of steps that you have to complete in that order in order to get the outcome. It might be an application process. Like I just applied for my passport. Reapplied for my passport. My old passport was really old. It was in my maiden name. So I had to do the whole process over again, and it had been expired for a while. So like the steps that you would have to take in order to do something if you have done it before. Now, if it's something you've never done before, you can't pick it for your topic because you need to have that personal experience to draw on. So like, for example, if I'm going to do passport application, one of the things that I learned doing mine is that there's sometimes local places where you can get passport pictures taken. So I went down to my newspaper office and they did a passport photo for me. It was really easy. It was nearby and it didn't cost very much money. And so rather than having to go to another city or, you know, spend a lot of time or a lot of money to get the photos taken, we were able to do that very quickly just in our hometown. So that's something that you would learn along the way. So the idea is that you're including basic steps of the process, but also things that you have as like tips because, or lessons that you've learned or things that you do in a certain way. Like when my dad changes oil, he always puts the old oil in like an old milk jug. I have no idea why, but that would be something that he would put in, or like the container from the you know, the new oil container that's now empty, he puts it in there. So I don't know why. I assume that's the best thing that he would have on hand to put that in. So steps in the order that you complete them, using first person. So talk about yourself. This is what I do. Or you could do third person, as in like the driver of the car would do this or something like that. And then the essay length is going to be at least a full page. You'll have more than that if you have a good process, but you want to make sure that you're completing, you know, a full essay. So you have an introduction with a thesis, at least one body paragraph, at least one conclusion, and then most of you will have more than one body paragraph. So to start this off, we're going to do a brainstorm and writing plan, just like we did for the paragraphs. Now we're planning on a full essay. So the brainstorm is to just brainstorm some different things that you know about, that are processes you're familiar with, or things that you're an expert at doing, or things that you've tried to master. So like I am really a beginner with knitting and crocheting. And I'm not very good at it, but I could potentially use that as a topic. Writing plan would be, then you've chosen your topic, you're going to write out what sort of ideas that you have that you can include in your essay, what sort of reasons why a reader should learn about this process. That will help you write your thesis statement, which is the third part, or the third, you know, section of this pre-writing journal or brainstorming plan. And so your thesis is one sentence. I've got some templates here. You should only choose one because you only have one thesis. Now, if you kind of like two of them and you sort of write out two, you can always type, hey, will you help me decide which one would be better, or something like that. But otherwise, I'm going to assume that if you write out three of them, that you're planning on using three topics that are three thesis statements in your essay, and that's not what we want to do. So this is just a plan. So once you're done that, then we'll move on in the next unit with the actual essay. For now, though, the midpoint is the other part of this module. And so one of the things we do at the halfway point is reflect on the semester. How are you doing with your goals? So the beginning of the semester, you sent me an email And now you're going to reflect on whether or not you're meeting any of your goals. What's the most challenging thing you've done? What are you learning? What's the best thing that you've learned? If you would give yourself a grade, what would you give yourself? And all of that kind of thing. So you can answer the questions in complete sentences, and you can number your answers, or you can write it out in an essay form. It's up to you. But we will revisit this again then at the end when you reflect on the entire semester. Lastly, you do have the opportunity to do a midpoint survey for extra credit. It is anonymous, and basically it just gives you a chance to give feedback on the class if there's anything you would like to see for the rest of the semester that might help you out a little bit. So that's the module. If you have questions, please send me an email. Otherwise, have a great week.